Welcome to our August 31st Zoom Satsang presentation. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And our first topic, Hinduism and Modern Life. Publisher's Desk from 2007. Some months back in Australia, a group of Hindu teens asked me what relevance Hinduism and temples have to modern life. They said it as though the answer were obvious. None. But they were callow and yet to be schooled in the noble religion they had been born into. After our session, their question echoed in my mind for days. It is a question on many minds, deserving a complete answer. I would like to share with our readers the four major virtues that I singled out for those students, virtues which make Hinduism profoundly relevant in today's world. And that's the question to you. What do you think these four virtues are that make Hinduism so relevant in today's modern world? Non-violence, tolerance, worship, and life's four major goals. So, starting with nonviolence. On November 13, 2006, we watched with interest a television report on the groundbreaking ceremony inaugurating a memorial to American civil rights hero Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In Washington's front yard, the National Mall, President Bush said he was proud to dedicate the memorial in its rightful place between monuments to Thomas Jefferson, who declared the promise of America, and Abraham Lincoln, who defended the promise of America. Dr. King, Bush offered, redeemed the promise of America. Dr. King came from a staunch Christian family. His grandfather was a Baptist preacher. His father was pastor of Atlanta's Ebenezer Baptist Church. King earned his own Bachelor of Divinity degree from Crozier Theological Seminary in 1951 and his Doctor of Philosophy from Boston University in 1955. While at the seminary, King became acquainted with Mohandas Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent social protest. On a trip to India in 1959, King met with followers of Gandhi. During these intimate discussions, he became more convinced than ever that nonviolent resistance is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in their struggle for freedom. Quite a sentence, huh? Nonviolent resistance is the most potent weapon available to oppress people in their struggle for freedom. Dr. King went on to effectively utilize the Gandhian principles of nonviolent social protest to bring to the world's attention the unjustness of U.S. racial discrimination laws, which were subsequently changed. Dr. King and all the millions he impacted would certainly affirm the relevance of the key Hindu principle of nonviolence in modern society. The world has changed significantly in the aftermath of September 11, 2001. Everyone has become more aware and increasingly appalled by the rampant incidents of brutality occurring worldwide every month. A great deal of violence is based upon the concept of the strategic necessity of retaliation, an eye for an eye, If they kill one of us, we must kill one of them. Gandhi made an insightful statement to counterpoint the call for revenge. He warned, "An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind." He also declared, "I object to violence because when it appears to do good, the good is only temporary. The evil it does is permanent." In a world awash in wars and conflict of every kind, Hinduism's gentleness and non-injury by thought, word, and deed is more than a relevance. It is a necessity for the future of humanity. And we got our second value here. The Hindu value that complements and underlies the principle of nonviolence is that of tolerance. So they're quite closely related. The Hindu belief that gives rise to tolerance of differences in race, religion, and nationality is that all of mankind is good. We are all divine beings, souls created by God. Hindus do not accept the concept that some individuals are evil and others are good. Hindus believe that each individual is a soul, a divine being, who is inherently good. The Upanishads tell us that each soul is emanated from God as a spark from a fire, and thence begins a spiritual journey which eventually leads back to God. All human beings are on this journey, whether they realize it or not. The Upanishadic Mahavakyam, or great saying that expresses this, is Ayam Atma Brahma. The soul is God. The Hindu practice of greeting one another with namaskara, worshipping God within the other person, is a way this philosophical truth is practiced on a daily basis. This is taken one step further in the Vedic verse, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. Everyone is family-oriented. All that we do is for the purpose of benefiting our family. We want them all to be happy, successful, and religiously fulfilled. And when family is defined as the whole world, then it is clear that we wish everyone in the world to be happy, successful, and religiously fulfilled. The Vedic verse that captures this sentiment is Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. May all people be happy. Certainly, the key principle of tolerance is a major demonstration of the relevance of Hindu teachings to our modern world. In providing a more compassionate and universalistic worldview, one that embraces the growing pluralism in world societies. Our third virtue, effective forms of worship. One question the teens in Australia asked, what if God is omnipresent? What is the need to build big temples to worship him? The cost of construction is quite large, plus after it is built, you have the ongoing cost of monthly maintenance. Couldn't all that money be spent in a better way? I asked him a question in response. Since God is omnipresent, shouldn't we be able to experience him equally everywhere? For example, God permeates this room. By looking intently at the room, shouldn't you be able to experience God? In theory, you should. I then asked, how many of you can see God permeating this room? All present had to admit that they could not. Practically speaking, God's omnipresence is a marvelously subtle form of consciousness, too subtle for most of us to experience unless we are skilled in meditation. I continued by giving the following series of analogies with other objects that are difficult to see. If we want to see a distant galaxy, we must go to an observatory and use a powerful telescope. To look into the nucleus of a cell, we go to a laboratory, use an electron microscope. Similarly, to see God, we go to the temple and experience God through the sanctified murti, or statue of the deity. Temples, and particularly the murtis within them, can connect us with the divine because they are especially sacred. There were three reasons for this: construction, consecration, and continuous daily worship. Temple is designed and built according to strict rules laid down in Scripture. This governs what shrines are included in the temple, the shrine's location, and the overall dimensions of the temple. Consecration occurs through the powerful ceremony called Kumbhabhishekam, during which a large number of priests perform elaborate rites for days on end. Thereafter begins the routine of daily worship conducted by professional priests. In these three ways, the temple and the murtis within them are sanctified and endowed with potent energies. Hindu temples in every corner of the world offer Hindus an achievable way to experience God's sacred presence. Divinity's presence uplifts those attending the temple, inspiring them to bring forth and perpetuate traditional Hindu culture in the form of sacred music, art, and dance. As such, the temple becomes the hub of religious life in the surrounding Hindu community, and thus is undeniably relevant to modern life. Four noble pursuits. Hinduism's relevance to modern life is perhaps most personally important in the sphere of spiritual fulfillments and worldly attainments. Each Hindu seeks the highest and best for self and family, including closeness to God and blessings in every sense of experience, in every arena of experience. Hinduism has tools, maps, and guidelines for reaching those very human goals. Consider the concept of the Purusharthas, Hinduism's four traditional pursuits. The first two are wealth and love, known in Sanskrit as Artha and Kama. Common to all mankind, these embrace the pursuit of love, family, children, career, and financial abundance. The third is Dharma, which provides direction and balance to the first two. Dharma is piety, virtue, and right living. It includes the ideals of seeking wealth and love in an ethical manner, being honest in business, and loyal to one's spouse. The fourth noble pursuit is moksha, spiritual illumination and liberation from rebirth on earth. And the question to you, what is Gurudeva's statement on moksha that starts with, liberation comes when? Liberation comes when. That type on the slide hasn't been changed. Gurudeva's statement, liberation comes when all our karmas are resolved, Dharma has been fulfilled, and God has been realized. So threefold. Karma, Dharma, realization. Hindus know that their Dharma, Artha and Kama, Hindus know that Dharma, Artha and Kama are not ends in themselves. They provide the necessary surroundings, relationships, and experiences which help the embodied soul mature over many lives and attain an ever-deepening God consciousness. This maturing process eventually culminates in moksha, at which point the soul has outgrown the need to continue its cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. The goal of moksha, which sharply distinguishes Hinduism from Western religions, reminds us not to become so enthralled with the world that we neglect our foremost aim, God realization and liberation. It is hard to imagine a mega message greater than Hinduism's call for human concord, noble aims for our worldly existence, and spiritualizing of our daily life. In addressing these fundamental human needs, no system of thought and theology is more germane. Having visited communities around the world, I am convinced that Hinduism remains vitally relevant in this era of space travel and global communications, and of worldliness and conflict on every continent. This vitality derives from its yoga, its teachings of all-pervasive divinity, its health system of Ayurveda, its mystical architectural system of Vastu, its immense cultural gifts, and so much more. It is relevant in providing the human race a profound self-understanding, illumined insights into life and consciousness, into human nature and our highest purpose. We can restate the Australian news question. Is there any religion in the world that is more relevant today than Hinduism? And again, the answer is a resounding no. Moving on, second topic, 64 character qualities from our workbook. Tolerance is the 67th character quality. So interesting that it was one of the 4 points in the first presentation. It wasn't planned, but it shows the importance. It's in both first topic and second topic. How would you define tolerance? The workbook gives this definition. Tolerance is being accepting of individuals of all natures, ethnicities, ideologies, and religions. I follow it by honoring and striving to see the divine in everyone. Opposite is prejudice. And Gurudeva's quotes. Hindus believe in the existence of God everywhere as an all-pervasive and effulgent energy and consciousness. This basic belief creates the attitude of sublime tolerance and acceptance toward others. Even tolerance is insufficient to describe the compassion and reverence the Hindu holds for the intrinsic sacredness within all things. Next quote. The enlightened person living on the planet suffers the great acceptance of things as they are. No longer through his ignorance does he feel a need to be manipulative. Sufferance means acceptance, tolerance, and a complete joyousness at seeing the perfect ever interrelating in trillions of perfect ways. Reflection. Take a moment to identify a few ways in which you could improve in tolerance. Another topic is quotes from Yoga Swami's Words of Our Master. See the God in your body by seeing, hearing, dressing, and eating. See him in your heart. What does that mean to you? What strikes me is all actions of body and mind are possible because Shiva is the life of our life. As age advances and knowledge increases, go up and up. If you look down, you will see only name and form. What does that mean to you? For a spiritual person, as he ages, he becomes wiser, going up and up. Of course, the abilities of the brain and body do decline, but that is incidental as he is focused on going up and up. So we're becoming wiser even though the physical brain and body are losing some abilities. It doesn't impact our becoming wiser and going up and up. And the last quote here, make the prana to rise, enough of reading. What does that mean to you? Reading spiritual books is good, but we don't want to stop there. We want to practice lifting our energies into a meditative state. So we don't want to not read books, but reading books, if that's the only thing we're doing, that's not enough. We don't want to stop there. Oh, thank you very much. Oh.